Welcome to LifeGLOSS, a beauty podcast for sassy and seasoned women who have lived life and have a drawer full of lip gloss to prove it. We're your hosts, Susan Gerdeman
and Kimberly Clark Esme. Join us each Thursday as we discuss life and how it relates to the world of beauty inside and out.
Boy, do we have a treat for you today. When I go to beauty industry trade shows, I see my friends, Kimberly Clark and Esme Mancia, and I can't get anywhere near them. The celebrities that have skincare lines and the celebrity skincare estheticians and celebrity makeup artists that have skincare lines are swamping them like they are the celebrities. They are celebrities in product and brand development. They have been for over 30 years. You know the brands that they've created: Stila, Peter Thomas Roth, Urban Decay, Victoria's Secret. They do things for Disney, for Estee Lauder, Epicurean, Avon, MAC, you name it. Look in your makeup bag. Chances are they made it. So without further ado, I want to welcome Kim and Esme. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having both of us. This is a real joy to get to discuss what we love that we do.
Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This is my first time ever doing this, so I'm a little bit nervous because I've never done it before, but I think it's really great and amazing that we're all women together doing this, and I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be so much fun, and we're all girlfriends here, not only the four of us on this screen, but all of our audience and all of our friends. You two are already friends to everyone because your creations are in all of our makeup bags. So I would love to know, you two are like work wives for almost 30 years. You have been spearheading the industry. People rely on you when they want to make something and they want to make it great. I'd love to know how you met, how you fell in love, how this love affair began. It's like Susan and I.
Well, I had been in the industry doing skincare. I've done everything. I've done hair color, skincare, waxing, depilatories, nail products. You named it, I've done it. As far as skincare, esthetician type products, creams and lotions, body sprays for Victoria's Secret, hand creams. And so in 1996, I was working in Riverside for a private label manufacturer, trying to get them up and going. And Esme worked for a place called Cosmetic Group. And I had some clients that were mutual that knew me and knew Cosmetic Group. And they said, they really could use your help. Go over there. We should get in there. Our business is there. We can't get anything out. At the time, I was like, it's much better to drive down the street for me instead of driving almost an hour and a half to Riverside to help set up a manufacturing facility. Well, when I went to Cosmetic Group USA, Esme happened to be the chemist that worked on Lancome's long-wearing lipstick. It was the first indelible lipstick. And Esme oversaw the lipstick matching and made sure she was the only one allowed to touch the lipstick, color shade, and match them because they trusted her because of her color eye. And I got into the company and realized, wait a minute, these guys aren't doing very much here. They didn't have a lot of business. So I started bringing business into them. And I remember when I met Esme, she thought I was this crazy woman. I go up in the lab and there she is. And I'm popping up there like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? Let me see. Being a nosy and everything. And she's looking at me like, who is this strange woman? And I bought in some customers like hard candy. And I asked her, I said, do you think you can make a glitter eyeshadow and we're going to stamp some names in them? And she looked at me like I had two heads growing off my shoulder. The thing that I loved most about her, she was young and she was very innovative, and she caught on quickly about innovative type products. So I go back a couple of days later, and sure enough, she had created these hard candy palettes with glitter eyeshadows, and I found an engineer that embossed names into them. And that was our first venture together. And her and I have stuck together for the last 27 years through various companies together as a partner. partnership.
Incredible. Esme, did you think she was crazy?
No, of course not. I'm a quiet person, but when I met Kimberly, I mean, totally different than every other salesperson that we had. She's very outgoing. She's very enthusiastic of what she does. She loves what she does. She has passion for what she does. So it was more, we were doing like when she said we were doing lipsticks, I was doing it for Avon. We were doing another brand that it was Victoria Jackson at that time. That's all what we did at that time. So when she came in, it was like a whole new world coming to us, like Hard Candy, Urban Decay, Too Faced. So we start doing innovation and people start finding out that we were doing it. So we had so many clients all at once that like there were sometimes Urban Decay, it was in the same office when Hard Candy was coming in, and it was so much fun and it was a lot of work, of course, doing innovation. But what I love about Kimberly is that she think outside the box, and that's what inspired me too as well. And me being in the industry, meeting with raw material vendors, at that time, we were the first ones that brought glitter to the market. And it was so innovative that everybody started like, okay, how did they do that? Who's doing it? And they start finding out that it was Kimberly and myself doing it. So it was just amazing. From that, we start hanging out, becoming really good friends. And since then, we're the best friends. She's like my sister to me. She's not a friend. She's like the family to me. So we have been doing this for 27 years, different companies, and we have gone through difficult times, but also we had fun doing it. We travel a lot. I mean, we were tired all the time, but we love what we had. We have passion for what we do. And that's what I think God put us together for a reason, because she has this crazy ideas and I was able to maybe not do it the way that she was thinking, but get it close to what she wanted to.
I love all of this. I just have to tell you both, the one thing that I'm hearing from both of you, Kim and Esme, is the camaraderie you both have together and the bond that you share and the word fun. We think of beauty so much as something so heavy sometimes, so serious. It's such a serious industry. And I think we get lost in that sometimes. And I just want to know from both of you, Kim, you can go first, and then Esme, tell us something that's happened that you can remember that you thought was just something so crazy. It could be funny, hysterical. It could be bizarre. Something that happened that really not just you found wild, but bonded you two together even further in your mission to beauty.
Well, there's several things I could tell you. In fact, I like to write a book, and it would be called If My Suitcase Could Talk. It would be all about the beauty world and what we learned traveling together. I think one of the biggest things that I think it was kind of funny is we were at a facility one day, and alcohol is very explosive, and we happened to be interviewing, this company was interviewing us for us to come to work for them. And all of a sudden we hear this kabang, and Esme and I hit the floor because we work with alcohol for many years. So we know, what can happen. In fact, we worked for a company that it was very scary. The rooms had to be so many thick, and we did like 21 lines of perfume at one time. So upstairs was where the alcohol tanks were, and they had steel metal doors. Well, if the red light went off and you didn't get out those doors, you were locked in there because it was explosive proof. But this company that we went to interview with didn't have an explosion proof room. And all of a sudden we hear this big bang. And I think it blew out half the side of the building. And Esme and I were hiding under the desks. So I think that was the funniest thing, because it scared both of us. Like, is somebody, were they shooting a gun? What was going on? And her and I had a good laugh about it. After we got out of there, we went to McDonald's and had a Coke and cracked up laughing about, us jumping under the desk at the time. And Esme, what do you recall some of the funny stuff that's happened?
I think the one that I'm always going to remember is that when Jeremy and Jared came in from Too Faced, had, they had Kimberly. Well, first of all, the people that hired Kimberly, they didn't know the capacity that Kimberly had. They didn't know who they were hiring. So Kimberly started bringing all these clients, right? And they put her in an office that only action people walks in and everything. So every morning I will drink coffee with her. And it happened that day, Jeremy and Jared from Too Faced came in when they barely starting. So they had given Kimberly a broken chair, and we walked Jeremy with his high heels and a bowl, and then we told him to sit down, and the chair just broke. I thought it was so funny, and then we were so embarrassed because we thought, oh my God, what is he going to think about us? But it was so funny. I always remember that. And we have so many memories of us traveling there was one time that we went to New York and we got lost. And at that time, we didn't have no GPS or anything like that. And it was like around 1 o'clock in the morning. And we stopped at a gas station and we asked the guy for directions, and he told us to buy a map. It was raining. We couldn't see anything. So there's so many things and so many great memories that we had together. I think it's unbelievable, all the things that we had gone through.
It's amazing. And beauty in the 90s, the mid to late 90s, when you both started, this is when indie brands were changing the world. Basically, you two were changing the world. You hear a lot of people take credit for like Urban Decay and Wendy Zomner walking in with her little bullet lipsticks. And a lot of people like to talk and say, oh, yes, we worked on this and we worked on that. But I know for a fact that it was you guys that did those, and Stila with Janine LaBelle, and you really drove and made the dreams of the indie brands possible and set the stage for beauty that we're even seeing now. Where did some of that inspiration come from?
Go ahead, Esme, you can go first.
Well, my inspiration, it was everything about fashion. I always wanted to be a fashion designer. When I was a little girl, I dreamed about fashion. I grew up very poor. So my thing was, if I can afford, like my parents would give me $5 per week to go to school, I saved that money and I used to go shopping. And I always told myself, I want to be a fashion designer. So everything that I see, like art, clothes, I mean, I love to shop. Kimberly and I were shopaholics. So we love shopping. And I think that everything fashion to me, like clothes, like art. And I that inspired me to do cosmetics, that it goes with the clothing, that it goes with the fashion. Or if I see a piece of art, I'm always thinking we can do a lip gloss, so we can do swirls, or we can put it in a bottle. Different things that I see, and I find beauty in everything, like nature, like a lot of things that I feel that people don't have. I feel that God was so good to me that I'm like, oh my God, we can create that and create it close to this piece of artwork that we can see it in here. I mean, Kimberly and I, we were the first one, very, very first ones who created all those swirls. We used to do it for Gap, Old Navy. I mean, we have done so much that I wish I would have kept a piece of everything that we have done, because it's just incredible. I remember that one time the team from Victoria's Secret came over and asked us if we can do lip tints. So we did this lava lip tints that they were just amazing at that time. And now I have a client that it's like, they think it's so new right now because I mean, we're doing it again, like we're bringing it back. Everything that we have done it, I try to bring it back with a different spin. So it was just so many things that we have done together, and the traveling, I think it helped me a lot to see different things, different nationalities, different everything. It's like food, clothes, art. It's just inspired me a lot. So, and the great thing about Kimberly and I, that we both are different nationalities, and which is amazing. People find that it's like, oh, wow, you guys are best friends, and she's Spanish and she's white and everything. And I think it's funny because Kimberly always tell everybody that we're sisters from a different father, but it's just funny. And we laugh all the time because sometimes people don't understand how we both become really, really good friends. And we talk about it, like, what do you think about doing this? It's not just her or myself doing. We always work together as a team, packaging, new innovation. I mean, it's like she will come up with ideas, I will create it in the lab. So everything that we have done, I think we have done it like 50 and 50. But it's just been amazing because what she's thinking, I get it. When she look at me, I know what she wants. It's funny because sometimes we even dress the same. I mean, it's just incredible, the relationship that we have together, that sometimes I'm like, oh my God, you're wearing that and I'm wearing the same thing. Or you're wearing the necklace and I'm wearing the same thing. It's just that I think that we became so close that we're very, like I say, like she's like my sister to me. And I love her so much because I have learned so much from her. And I know that now that she's doing her brand, we're going to do an amazing job for her because she has really, really great ideas that other people don't have in the industry.
Wow. It's like, I don't even know where to begin. This is such a great story. I feel like we need like 10 hours with both of you. As I'm listening to all of this, I came up as a makeup artist and a cosmetic executive in the 90s, early 90s. And so many of the brands that you both worked on, I either worked for or with. And it is just so cool to think that I get to talk to the two women that created these products when I was using them back then, not even probably thinking about the behind the scenes. So this really is incredible. I want to know, on that particular note, is there a product that is there one product that each of you are the most proud of? And can you even say which product you're the most proud of?
Yeah, there's a lot of products I'm proud of that we created, but I think the all-time over bestseller of all time eyeshadow was for Urban Decay, and it was called Midnight Cowboy.
Okay, you're seeing right now. You can't see us, our listeners, but oh my God, Hillary and I both raised our hands at exactly the same time because that was our exact favorite eyeshadow that Urban Decay ever did. And now meeting you, it's like meeting your idol. So I honestly, to both of you, I cannot thank you enough for that color. I'm sure half of our listeners are thanking you for creating that color. It is just phenomenal color that works on everybody. It's just
everybody. And
everybody.
And there's another one. I'm sure Esme will tell you the other one. I mean, we've created, part of my background was to find raw materials. She met with raw material vendors, but how could we use them and change them and put them in things? And we have created so many, like Midnight Cowboys. We created the all-time best-selling primer, which is Smashbox. Esme created that one.
Iconic.
Yeah, iconic. And there's several things that are iconic that we did. And now they're starting to bring them back. And Esme, now that she's still manufacturing, I was laughing because I was out there, of course, with her for 8 weeks, which I love you. Thank you. You put up with me for 8 weeks. There's just so many. Esme, what do you recall that's your favorite iconic product you did?
I think the one that I really, really remember is the Smashbox, because as of today, people are still in love with that primer. And I think that they're selling now. We created different colors. We start with a clear primer. Then when we saw how well it was doing, they were selling like crazy. Then we created a purple, a green, like a peachy color. And now there's still #1 seller for Smashbox. And I'm like, wow, so many years have passed by and people still love it. The new generation still buying what we used to buy back in the 1990s and everything. So it's just great to see all the formulations that we have done in the past, and people are still in love with it. We have a client that we truly, truly love. And she's more mastiche, that she always used to tell us that she has every single product that we had created for her, when we were using the parabens and we were using all those ingredients that we're not allowed to use now. And
which there was nothing wrong with, by the way. I like to interrogate makeup artists when they come in and go, I want no mineral oil. And I go, why? And they can't answer me.
It's interesting you bring up that point. My teenage daughter is a future, she's a STEM girl, and she's super into chemistry. And, she's always telling me, everything's a chemical, right? So we always have this discussion about, this whole natural versus synthetic.
Yep. Clean, natural. Unless you make it at home and put it on your face, there is no such thing as clean and natural. And the thing that bothers me the most is there was nothing wrong with the parabens. Esme's using new things that we don't know if we're going to grow a third head 10 years from now. I mean, they have put such a stigma on great raw materials that you can use. And when they can't answer me, I always say, have you been to a dermatologist? And they'll look at me and they'll go, yeah. And I go, well, you better flip over and see what's in that tube, because it's mineral oil. And Esme, you can talk about some of the other raw materials too.
Yeah, like I was saying, we have a client that she has all of our products that we did back in the 90s, and everything has parabens, the preservatives that we used to use before. And she's telling me everything is intact, Esme. They smell great. It's amazing. But now, like the new ingredients that we're using, like Kimberly say, we don't know what's going to happen in 10 or 20 years. But, it's great. I feel that people are more concerned now these days about our being clean and everything. And I respect all of that. But at the same time, people go over and beyond. How much clean can you be? Like I had a client the other day coming in and telling me that she wants to use glitter. So but she doesn't want to use the real glitter. She wants to do like glitters that are not going to go to the ocean, which I truly understand that too. But she also want to create something that is great, something that is going to pop when she put it in. So we use the new glitters that we're getting. So the next day it was gone, and I had to show it to her. And I said, look, this is what's happening. And she's like, oh, no, forget about it. Let's go back to the real glitters, because this is not working. And my whole thing is that if we're so concerned about, becoming clean and everything, there's bigger issues. Like, for example, we're still using plastic. We're still using, components that are derived from plastic. And I'm like, okay, they're so concerned about the glitters right now, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. But I think that it's also because of the price point that we have here in the US too. It's a lot. So people decide, okay, it's too expensive. We cannot afford it. But doing the claims are the problems that we're having now because of, like I say, the components that we get are plastic and everything, but they're concerned about the glitters. But also on the preservatives, like Kimberly was saying, we never had any issues with parabens, and now we don't know what's going to happen in 20 years. So it's good and it's not good, but it's just really hard to please everybody.
Well, that's the truth, isn't it? Did you have another question, Hill?
I do. I would love to know. I'm so grateful for you sharing some of the challenges between labeling laws, consumer demand. You really have to straddle. We've pinned ourselves into a corner with some of the greenwashing. And while, of course, we're very focused and very aware of, the endocrine disruptions, but so much of that is, shampoo, it's body, and a lot of those things can be easily navigated. But we've pinned ourselves, because of those few things, we've pinned ourselves in such a tough corner with product development, because I have had not nearly the product development background that either of you have had, but I've stuck my toe in product development, and it's not easy. And you have continued to move, heaven and earth to deliver things to your clients that they've really been able to work with. And you continue to trailblaze even with all of these restrictions. And I know that you both had your business, which you had a magnificent exit, and then had, some years there. You had Dream Team Beauty. You had a beautiful exit there. You had some years that you were not able to compete. And I'm so thrilled that Esme has come back to the market. The doors are open. As I said at the beginning of this, when people saw her at the most recent trade show, I didn't know if she was going to, be able to get out of there. I mean, she was 6 people deep with people surrounding her. I was like concerned for her safety at one point. It was like the Beatles, It was incredible. So I'm thrilled to hear that you guys are back. And I'm glad that you've touched on, what we kind of call the greenwashing. I have 2 questions. First of all, what do you think is an unsung hero or an underdog in the beauty industry? Maybe it's an old thing that's starting to come back again, because we're at that 25-year cycle where things start to come back in again. And then I also had a question about, we have a few more questions. I also have a question about what you think about what we've coined the term as silver washing. And we're seeing that brands marketing to those that are 40, 50 plus, menopause. We're seeing that for color. We're seeing that for skincare. What are you seeing in those trends, as all of us are becoming more fabulous every single day?
Well, to answer that part of us, because I'm in that age range and all, and I'm always joking, because efficacy, you want something that works. And the efficacy of a product is real important at our ages to make sure it penetrates enough and we see some improvement. Of course, everything you would get from a plastic surgeon or dermatologist is no, because it's not clean. It's not healthy. Well, it is clean and it is healthy, or they wouldn't be giving it to us to stay 20 years younger than we are. And that's where I start laughing. Like people think like lanolin, oh, we kill sheep for lanolin. I have a sheep here. Come and wipe your hands on his fur and see what you get. I don't have to kill him to get lanolin from him. All I got to do is shave his fur and wring it out. There's tons of lanolin. So I'm an animal activist. And when I hear about collagen and elastin and lanolin and all these things that, these animals die for, it's not true. It's not true. And I agree. I put beliefs in what works. And, a clean product hasn't got anything in it but water and a little bit of coloring and maybe a pinch of marketing in it. And to me, if I'm going to look good and stay looking healthy and young, I'm going to go to the products that make me look that way. And that doesn't mean natural and clean.
Interesting. And do you find that you are both, Kim and Esme, a lot of the times, how much of what you do is actually educating the brands that come to you with these big ideas? They come to you with briefs and, they have these ideas. Maybe they came from their marketing departments. I would imagine you spend a lot of time directing them.
I'll answer that and then I'll let Esme jump in. So, I really educate people when they come in and they want to start a cosmetic brand. Oh, I got this fabulous idea. Well, what is your idea? And then when I tell them, no, that's been done, go back, rethink a new idea. And, I get into what is their demographics? What are they looking to sell to? What kind of products do they want to sell? Do they have enough money to start up and keep their brand going? And then Esme comes in on a technical advisement and says, okay, what kind of products do you want to do? Yes, we can do that. No, we can't do that. Or she gets into the technical side with all the, I don't want to use mineral oil. I don't want to use petroleum. I don't want to use silicone. I don't want to use parabens. Okay, let's put some water in a bottle for you and put a little color in it. Is that what you're looking for? Esme, you can answer on the technical side some of the issues that are challenging.
A lot of the clients come with an idea that they don't even know where to start. So most of the time we help them because that's our job, to help our clients, guide them or finding components, writing a bill of material, because they don't even know what a bill of material is. So we kind of guide them from the beginning all the way to the end. And like Kimberly said, that they come with an idea that it's already in the market. Most of the time, we always tell them, look, this has already been done, but we have this great ingredient that we can use for you. So what we do, we kind of create based on their idea, something different that it's not in the market. And that's why I say from the beginning that Kimberly and I, we love to shop, but because we love to go to the store and see what's up there and see what everybody else is doing. So we don't do exactly what's in the market. We try to do everything different than what's already up there, because if we're copying everybody, I mean, everybody's going to be selling the same thing. Like after coming back, we were out for 5 years. I always tell Kimberly that it's really crazy, and I feel sad that everybody, if somebody has a like for example, Selena Gomez came out with the blush, the liquid blush, everybody had. I mean, everybody's copying her. I mean, things like that I feel that people needs to be different. And that's why they come to us, because we will give you something different. We will give you something that nobody has it in the market. So at the end of the day, Kimberly and I, we're the one who does all the work, because like I say, they don't even know how to write a bill of material. They don't know where to go to find components, what kind of
They don't
components.
write their marketing. I write the marketing for them.
Yeah, or like they don't even know what kind of material components
Right.
I mean, we have to tell them all of that. I mean, if they're going to put a primer, they're going to put a body scrub, what kind of material do we need? So we kind of teach them how to do that, all of that. I mean, we're behind, so nobody knows. They look good. We're the ones who are doing all the work at the end of the day.
Well, it sounds like you've just done so much work over the years. How could there possibly be anything left in your brains, right, at this point? But something tells me that there's a lot still, a lot that you both have to give all of us. So as we wrap up in the last few minutes, I want each of you to sort of tell Hillary and I what is next. What are you up to? How are you going to top what you've already done?
I'll start with that. I am launching a beauty brand for horses. There's no line out there for horses that make them pretty. These $300 to $1 million horses that are show winners. I've came up with beauty products that human use, but we can use on them and make them beautiful. So I had a fun time doing it. It's called Couture Horses. I used all horse terms. First and Glow, Tally Ho Spot Cleanser, Bling It, You're Bugging Me Fly Spray for a horse and rider. And then for their hair glitter and braids and all, I got Mirror Mirror on the Stall, who's the prettiest horse of us all. So everybody, Esme has done wonderful formulas for me. Everybody is like, oh my God, this is going to do so well. We traded the name, defining equine beauty. So that name is traded. And it's I have a Frisian horse, and she has a silver crown on her head. And the cards are beautiful. It's based on Tiffany. So we upscaled it like a Tiffany brand, but for horses. And we're using like Chanel type bottles. And so that's my new adventure. Esme has several too that she's in the midst of. And one of hers is absolutely stunning. And she can tell you about that.
My my new venture, it's I have so many things that I want to do. The reason why I came back to manufacture, it's because I always wanted to launch my brand. The problem was that we were doing it for everybody. So now that I'm back, more like focusing on myself. Like I want to do something for myself. I want to create my own line. It's registered already. It's called Libertad Vida, which means liberty and life. I come from El Salvador. I'm from El Salvador, and I come from a little town called Libertad, which means freedom. And that has so much, the meaning of that has so much for me that when I was thinking about the name, I was like, okay, what should I call it? You know, like, and I thought, okay, Libertad means freedom. And it has so much meaning to me and my family that we decide, okay, we're going to call it Libertad. So it's beautiful what we're doing right now. Like Kimberly said, it's not, there's nothing in the market like what we have.
Like it.
We're creating a packaging for it. And I'm hoping to launch, and I'm going to launch it by next year. So the packaging, it's in the process right now. So it's something different that I think people are going to love. And it's innovative because nobody has it in the market. But I'm also manufacturing new brands for other clients too. And most of the clients that I have are old clients that they just came back to us because they know what we bring to the table. They want innovation. People are dying to see what's, everybody's copying everybody. Can we do something new? So a lot of the clients, they came back and we're giving them new innovation. We're producing a lot of new innovation that are not in the market. So I have a lot going on my end, but I know Kimberly is going to do so well with her brand. It's beautiful. I mean, you guys need to look at it. You guys need to see the packaging. And I know she's working on her artwork right now. So it's just, I think that it's beautiful, and I think she's going to do really, really well.
Oh,
That's amazing. I love it.
Oh my gosh, we applaud you both so much. And, not only was the industry, overjoyed to hear that you'd come back to manufacturing. And of course, they're flocking to you and new brands are coming to you. But we certainly hope that each of you will come back to us. We want to bring Couture, Esme, we want to bring Liberté. We want to come back. We want to be part of your launch initiatives. We want to celebrate you, congratulate you, and help spread the word about everything that you're doing. And we're going to include all of your information in all of the show notes. So our audience, our listeners can go there. They can learn more. In closing, as experts for our audience that's out there, she, he, they're shopping for skincare, they're shopping for makeup, just very briefly, from the people that are creating all the extraordinary products that we love, what piece of advice do you have for people? Maybe it's looking at labels, maybe it's not. What piece of advice do you have as cosmetic product development experts for our listeners? How should they shop? What should they look for when they're looking at products? Is there something important for them to pay attention to?
I'll go first, and then Esme. I think the problem with the market is everybody goes out and buys everybody else's product and says, I want this color and give me this, and it's done. If you're going to get in the cosmetic industry, you got to be different. You got to have a different business plan. You've got to have your market that you're going to sell to. The packaging's got to be geared towards that market. The marketing's got to be geared towards that market. And I could sit here and name 100 new things we can do. So I know if people out there want to do it, they have to be different. It's so inundated with so many cosmetic brands that for you to be different, you're going to have to really think about something unique in concept. And if I can think of 100 right now, everybody else should be able to come up with something just as wonderful. The other thing that Esme did that set somebody on fire is we found a product called Argan, and it made Josie Marin very rich. So it's about coming in and asking, like, oh, is there any new raw materials, and what is their market, and how can we incorporate that into their market and get them up? When I worked with customers, we always branded towards their business model. So that made it easy. Esme and I could go out with 15 new products because we knew our customer's business model and say, here, this is made for your business model. But I think in today's society, they come in and they bring a bag of cosmetics from everybody else. And I'm just like, what are you going to do? That's already out there, been done. Yes, everybody copies some shades. The one thing that I admired, and Esme and I always did, is we never knock everybody off. We always say, no, why would you want that? You need something different. And she would create a different product for them. And so I think if they're looking to get in the business as far as cosmetics or skincare, you really got to come out of the gate with something that's unique and different.
That's great. And for the consumer, do you have any tips for the consumer? Because it's so overwhelming when a woman walks up to a counter or into a store. How does she know where to begin? And there may not be a really easy answer to that other than look for a brand that's speaking to you and your concerns.
Yeah, and they have a lot of that on the internet now. And I can tell you they don't work because I myself personally am a very difficult person to shade match because I'm so white. And I've had the best makeup artists in the world try to match me. And I finally, I have to combine stuff to get my color. I think what the woman wants is they're working moms or they're on the go and you're nonstop like Esme and I used to be. You want simplicity. Esme can get her makeup on in 10 minutes, but that's because she knows her shades and everything. I think women get overwhelmed when they walk up to a counter and they see 50 shades of foundation. They just walk away because it's overwhelming. I think there's a need to simplify, but I really think simplicity is the key, but a unique product is what's going to get you noticed.
Well, if there's anybody, an aspiring brand founder out there, you just got a lot of really good free advice.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome, people. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Esme, do you have any thoughts there?
Well, I think that what I noticed nowadays, it's people are very concerned about the ingredients, like what we were talking about. Everything has to have like a peptide. People look at the ingredients. They're very savvy now. With your phone, you can look at. And I noticed, like, I walk the Ulta, Sephora, and I'm looking at people trying different things and looking into their phones. What's the meaning of these ingredients? And I think it's great because we, as myself, I'm 52. So I want to look good, but I also don't want to spend $100 on something that it's not going to work. Because marketing, it's great, the marketing that a lot of people have, but at the same time, does it really work? So it's great that people are more savvy now, that they can read the labels. They can go back and say, hey, this is good for my skin. Not because it worked for her, it's going to work for me. So I feel that now everybody, it's more into what can we add? Like if we're doing eyeshadows, can we add a peptide to it? If we're doing a lip, can we add a treatment to it? Everything, what I'm seeing now, everything is with treatment. Lipstick, lip glosses, eyeshadows, everything has to have something great in there, which I think is good for the consumer because you're not only using color, but you also have a skincare routine that you're doing it every day. So that's what I'm seeing right now.
Oh, it's so incredible. As Susan said, I feel like I know we have to let you go because you're so busy and you've been so generous with your time today, but we definitely need follow-ups. I think if we can entice you to be regulars, not only to come on and introduce each of your brands, I think we need to do like quarterly check-ins and be like, all right, what do the bosses say? Let's look at this. It makes my heart sing. And I feel like we're talking to the people that set the world on fire and are continuing to do so. And, welcome beauty world. They're back and they've had time to think about what they love and what they want to do. And I think we're going to start seeing some really exciting things after a couple years of copycats. Now that Kim and Esme are back, buckle up. It's going to get interesting, people.
Yeah. And I think for all of our listeners out there, this was so educational. It's always so interesting to meet the individuals behind the curtains, behind the scenes. We always get the accolades, those of us that work in the front of the scenes, the makeup artists and the educators, but to see the people behind the scenes who really put this all together. Hillary and I would not have had a career without both of you, truly. So on behalf of makeup artists and listeners everywhere, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, ladies, for having us on today. This has been fun and exciting. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Kimberly and I, we were like excited and scared. I was scared. You, Susan and Hillary, you guys can come to the lab anytime you want. You guys can come and play in the lab. I mean, we have it.
Oh, boy, get ready. We're coming.
You guys come and do your own lip glosses. We have the lab, Esme Beauty Labs is open for you guys anytime, and Hillary knows that. So, Susan, you're more than welcome to come as well.
I will be there.
Yes, and I really appreciate you having us today.
It's our pleasure. And in season 2, we will be doing video, not just audio. So we will definitely come into, it's esmebeautylabs.com. We'll definitely come into Esme Beauty, and we've been thinking about maybe LifeGLOSS should have a lip gloss. And of course, there's no one else that we would even consider working with.
So that's a really good compliment. Thank you so much.
Never even consider it. There's not a chance. No way.
You're ours now.
Yeah.
You have us whether you want us or not.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much.
Esme, thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meanwhile, find LifeGLOSS on Instagram and TikTok at lifeglosspodcast.com. And on our website, lifegloss.com. You just might catch us live on TikTok. You never know. All right, everybody. Susan, stay glossy.
Hillary, stay glossy.